All right, let's go ahead and kick it off. So today is September 11, 2024. This is the meeting of the Container Storage Interface Community. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and posted on YouTube. So we can go ahead and get started. Xing, we had one item from last time, Alpha Beta GA for CSI Kubernetes. I think we discussed this last time, and the conclusion was let's discuss this on a case-by-case basis. Any follow-up needed on this one?
Right, so can we make a decision on this one? What do we want to do for the CSI spec for the working group snapshot? Do we want to leave it in experimental and then move the Kubernetes side to beta first? I guess that's the question.
Well, so we're agreed that there is no concept of beta in CSI, right? It's either alpha or it's GA.
GA, yeah. So whether we want to move this to GA or just leave this as experimental while moving the Kubernetes side to beta, I guess that's the question.
I am on board with moving into GA if we can get the vendor buy-in that I've been asking for. So like if we can point to that, I would say let's declare GA on the basis that like multiple vendors have implemented it and find it to be satisfactory. And then move Kubernetes to beta. That's my preference.
Okay. So we know that there are multiple vendors, right? So we know we have Ceph side, we have Ceph RBD and Ceph FS. Both have implemented this. And Infinidat, they are working on it, working in progress. I see the person, the developer working on the driver, he has been raising issues, but he's working on this basically. Right. And
Wait, what do you mean by raising issues?
Oh, he opened some bugs. We're fixing those bugs.
Oh, well, against the sidecars,
remember that
not
one
the
issue?
CSI.
Remember? Yeah. Remember, there's one issue that I actually brought this up at the data protection group meeting, and then we realized that actually that's a bug in our implementation. So someone is actually working on fixing that. As it's not a So right now I have not seen a request to change the CSS back yet so far. So which is good.
But was there a third vendor?
Oh yeah, and there's a third one which is Alibaba. They also have a POC.
Like is the POC complete and have they said they're perfectly happy with the design?
You know what, let me ask them. I think let me check. I need to check. Yeah, I know I asked this person some time ago. Or maybe this person was in one of the 6:30 meeting, but I need to. So let me double check and see.
Okay, I guess so. Here's a concrete proposal that we could. We have a CSI specific mailing list, right? Well, why don't we start a thread saying like, hey, we're soliciting feedback from vendors who have implemented the group snapshot design. Please, answer the thread with your experience, using this, and whether there were any, problems or limitations that would prevent us from declaring the feature GA. So we should just like start an email thread and then collect written responses from the various implementers, and then we can point to that as our historical record that like, look, we got a bunch of vendors, everyone's happy, we're going to go GA on that basis.
Okay. Yeah.
So the next step is probably to start an email thread and then direct all the different vendors to say, hey, please answer this or please respond back.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. The only thing I would add is we should probably throw Kubernetes mailing list on there as well, just because it has a wider.
Sure. So in Kubernetes though, right now, I don't know if you noticed, and there is a discussion on whether to to get rid of the beta state, just to go from alpha to GA. There was a discussion.
Wait, what?
It's an active discussion in Kubernetes.
All of Kubernetes?
Yeah. There's an active discussion on the dev list.
But they just so there used to be alpha and then beta, which was like disabled by, or so alpha was disabled by default. Beta used to mean enabled by default, but disableable. And then they added this fourth state, which was like beta disabled by default and beta enabled by default.
Yeah, but now there is actually
GA.
Yeah.
And they're saying that like that was the wrong direction, and now they just want to get rid of all the
There's
beta.
somebody brought this up. I think it's if I remember correctly, I think it's someone from Red Hat. And then now there's discussion. I did not read all the all the
Oh my
messages,
gosh.
but it's very active right now. So if
How,
they finally decide to do that, then that will be same as what we have in CSI Stack.
but how are they going to do like feature gate stuff? Like
It
you just
was
go
well
straight
near
to
feature gate still. It's just when you GA, then that's I think they're proposing you should be able to disable it or something. That may be because yeah, I think that probably still be there. So when it's GA, maybe still you can disable it or
okay.
that
So
probably
then you would have alpha disabled by default, but you can turn it on. GA would be enabled by default, but you can turn it off, and there's no
right.
in
But
between.
maybe there is a third. Maybe then you can completely disallow you to disable it. Maybe that I need to read again because this is an active discussion.
Interesting.
So yeah. So I mean, so we probably also should think about that because then that means, eventually it's going to be the same. Maybe still maybe this is still in discussion. Not sure if it's going to happen or not. Okay. Not sure.
I'm wondering what the justification would be for because I thought that the alpha beta GA gradual graduation process was very conservative and very risk averse, and it made sense on that basis.
Right. I think I remember what they're saying is so the problem is when you go in beta, so people think, okay, this is kind of like GA. Now it's because enabled by default, but in reality, it's actually not exactly same as GA, right? It's beta, it's not GA.
So people are dropping stuff in beta. Is that the problem?
So and also there are also cases where it goes to beta, then there's no more incentive to even go to GA. It's kind of like GA, right? So
okay, so they're gonna find out a different problem after they get rid of beta.
I know, yeah, that's the thing. Either way, there definitely pros and cons. Yeah, so they're just
If the problem is that
side of
people are getting
problem.
to beta and walking away, then they'll just get to GA and walk away, and
Right.
nothing will have improved.
Remember remember at one point they also started to say, okay, if you're beta, you stay beta for a while, we are going to force you to go to beta 2 or GA. You can't stay there forever because
Yeah, I know. I remember that whole thing.
Remember that one, right? We did that for the CSI capacity. Because of that, we just moved it to GA because otherwise we have to do another beta 2. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yes, we should actually read those discussions and yeah.
So the second topic here is the quote unquote breaking change that we made in CSI.
Oh yes.
So figuring out what we do here next.
I think Menu is going to get some input from Connor because he's the one who implemented this in the driver, right? Just to see what changes they made because they made some changes in their driver to support the the newer version.
Well, yeah. So
the
issue is that the issue is if there was a vendor that was using CSI 1.9 and they just upgraded to 1.10, like what should happen is their code should just work, right? They shouldn't have to change anything because it's a minor version bump.
Right.
The reality is
they have
breaks.
to make a change. Yeah, so they
so Jan has pushed some PRs that would revert things back to the prior state.
But then what does that mean for? So does that mean it actually support both? Or what?
No. It would just we could do like a 1.10.
It would just only support 1.9. It does not support 1.10.
No. This would be a new change, which we would release 1.10.1, and so you could upgrade from 1.9 to 1.10.1 without any code change.
Okay, so basically
that's the intent.
Both. So basically, does it make sense? Do you want to actually release?
Well, no, it's not supporting both. It's putting the compiler back to the ancient version so that people who whose CSI plugins are running against that ancient version don't have to make any drastic changes. It would still leave aside the problem of, okay, how do we get the
newer version?
The protobuf compiler updated? Like, do we call that CSI 2.0? Do we just call that another release and we publicize better that it's breaking? Like that's the issue we have. Is that the release already went out the door.
So
it's already broken.
Then my question is, if we merge Yang's change, let's say if we release a 1.10.1, does that break the EBS change that the corner has already made, or that will just still work? I thought that might break that change, isn't it? Because he actually added something in there, if I remember what he said.
We don't know, but probably.
Okay, so that's a question for So that's a question for Connor to confirm.
I think we raised this question in last week's Kubernetes meeting, and the consensus seemed to be probably okay leaving it as is and putting in a breaking change release note to say, hey, this has happened. Folks generally wanted to stay on a more newer version, even if it meant that when they go to upgrade the CSI driver, they have to do more work, because the spec itself and what's on the wire was still backwards compatible. And the change was a build time thing that will be very clearly obvious that you need to fix this. It's not silently breaking. That said, I think the conclusion at the Kubernetes meeting was, let's have the CSI drivers who went through this provide some feedback. So apparently EBS had already done the update to 110. And they went through this process and said they would come back with some feedback on whether we're okay with this or not. So that was the next step.
Okay, so we have not heard. I don't remember seeing any update.
I was going to say, have we gotten that feedback? Because the clock is ticking, and the longer we don't do anything, the more we lock ourselves into the situation where we can't go back, right? Because the longer 110 is just out there, the more vendors will actually do the upgrade, and then there's less point in taking on change and going back to a non-breaking situation.
Right. So
it sounds like that's what we're inclined to do, but
can we we should pin them on the Slack, right? Because there is a conversation there that the corner has said what he has done, and we can just ask him there we should probably do that.
But it sounds like, Ben, likely we would go with the path of like, hey, this is a build break sort of situation, and that's okay. And it's more important to keep to the latest. And as long as we're not making on the wire breaking changes, this is okay. And
So how do we communicate that? Because the release notes have gone out, presumably, or can we go back and edit them?
We can go back and edit them.
Okay. Well, then I suggest that we just do that and send out an email expressing that, apologies, and that the email and that say, hey, the initial release notes missed something important. They've been updated. Here's what you need to know. Probably copy that to the SIG storage list also for the wider distribution. And then I feel bad for Jan having done the work to provide a PR to revert things if we're not going to take it.
Yeah, we talked to Jan last week as well. He was kind of okay either direction.
Okay.
So I think he'll be okay with it.
Okay.
So I think next steps. Let's follow up. I can help create this email. I'll socialize it with both of you and get your approvals. But
who has access to edit the release notes? Is that
I do.
Just you? Okay.
Yep. So I think we should be okay here. Any other comments on this topic?
Okay. Do we need to pin Connor or?
I think it's a good idea. Can you follow up on that, Xing, and me and Ben?
Sure. Yeah. I was looking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me find that thread. It's somewhere. Yeah. So then I will ping him and then CC you both there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jasad, I wanted to ask about the modified meeting time. Is this going to be an ongoing change? Or just for
Totally
this
up to you
week?
all. I changed it to half an hour because we very rarely went to an hour. But we can certainly change the time itself or expand or reduce or adjust.
Well, I was going to say, I recall several occasions where we actually did use the whole hour for like some deep discussion, but it's rare. It's like a lot of it feels like either the meeting takes 5 minutes because we don't have any topics, or it takes more than 30 minutes because we do have a topic and we really get into it. But yeah, if we
I'm
wanted
just
to,
optimizing for the majority of the time. It tends to be a short meeting, and it's easier for me to like book before and after if I haven't.
Yeah. You see, it's over my lunch, so I wasn't going to use that time for anything anyways.
I see.
So I was wondering if it's better to move this half an hour earlier, still just have like half an hour. This way, if we want to go longer, we may be able to go longer if, if we don't have other
Yeah,
meeting.
but if it's only scheduled for half an hour, then people will schedule the other half hour with stuff,
Yeah, I think that's the main
right?
thing for me is just
Right.
being
I'm
able
just
to.
saying like this, yeah, this basically meaning if we want to go longer, we can, because normally we will have, well, I have the CSI has the triage meeting.
Oh, right.
At one, basically it's, at the end of this meeting, right? So I'm just saying if we want to go, then
So what I was thinking was we can keep it at 30 minutes, and because we rarely go over 30 minutes, in the cases that we need to, we just schedule a one-off.
okay, yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, anything else on your mind, folks?
I'm all set.
Cool. All right, thanks a lot. I'll see you all next time then.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Bye.